everybody. Today's video is going to be on icing consistency. Now, icing consistency is really important because if you have an icing that is too thin and too watery, it will be impossible to ice or decorate. And if you have something that's too stiff, it will be extremely difficult to work with and your hand will cramp really easily. So icing consistency is one of the main keys to icing anything and decorating anything. So as you can see here, I have made up a batch of icing. Most icings come in a stiff consistency. It doesn't say in the directions whether or not it's stiff or thin or medium. Just wait until you have your icing made up and then just test the consistency. As you practice more, you'll be able to see and know what is stiff and what's thin, and it'll become very easily to tell. So my icing is a stiff consistency icing. One of the other key ideas that you need to know about icing consistency is how to break down your icing. It's a good idea to know ahead of time how much thin consistency icing you need and how much thick consistency icing you need. For the cake that I'm decorating, all I need is thin. But if you needed some medium consistency or some stiff and medium or a combination of any of the three, it's a good idea to separate out how much icing you need into separate bowls before you start thinning it, because it's very difficult to make a stiff consistency from a thin consistency. So what you use to thin your icing with is water. And as you see here, I have a cup of water right here. And to make a thin consistency from a stiff consistency, it's 2 teaspoons for every cup. To make medium from stiff, it's 1 teaspoon for every cup of icing. So here I have 3 cups of icing, and I want to make all thin, so I'm going to put in 6 teaspoons of water into my mixture and mix it up. It is extremely important as well, if you're using a store-bought icing, you want to thin out your icing as well, because the store-bought ones are extremely stiff to begin with, even for a stiff consistency. So even if you want stiff icing, it's a good idea to add a teaspoon maybe just to thin it out, and it will still be a thick consistency. And as you can see here, this icing is much more thinner, much more easier to work with. If you can see, it comes off much easier and is more easy to work with and not nearly as stiff as what we first started with. So once you have your icing in the right consistency, you're ready to decorate.